Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to lie. I'm on a little bit early because there is a lot to get through. I could either come on earlier or go on later, but we decided to come on earlier. So we will be streaming, guys. We're triple streaming on YouTube. We're on X, and we are on TikTok. So if you could do me a real big favor, guys, and share your good words, share your support. Like, comment, subscribe, share, bell notification, all those things that help this channel grow, ladies and gentlemen. Because ultimately, it's only your fine fingers that help this grow. So these are not my words, ladies and gentlemen. This is the future of war, and the West is not ready for what may be coming in an open conflict with Russia. Mass casualties and a transformation of the battlefield beyond anything that NATO armies are training for. Guys, listen, this is not me saying it now. This is what more people are talking about. We are talking about an all-out war, NATO minus the United States versus Russia. And I've said so many times, guys, it's not a win for NATO as they're structured now. But I don't think that matters because I think that is going to be the way that the way that this thing rolls. I can see a realistic potential where the Russians roll all the way through. The Russians roll all the way through. Where the Russians roll all the way through Europe. They're obviously not going to be able to get to Britain, but can you imagine the boat migrants? Can you imagine the boat migrants if like the Russians started moving up through into Poland, into France? Can you imagine like the boat migrants coming over? It would be absolutely wild. You'd be like, what's that movie? I think it's like Matt McConaughey, and I think he's saying like something like, "They're rookie numbers, son. You got to pump those numbers up." And literally, that's where we would be. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're focusing on today. We're going to be focusing on this, and I did touch on this morning, but I was in a rush this morning, so I had to leave early this morning. So we are going to be focusing on this today, guys, because Ukrainian intelligence are warning active members of the battlefield are warning. People who understand the threat are warning. I've been warning that this new era of warfare, this new conscript warfare, we're not prepared for that in the West. We don't know how to deal with that. And I've given you guys some examples. I'll give those examples again. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just calling it now. Birmingham has fallen. Birmingham is gone. It's beyond repair. Birmingham is gone. I would be quite happy. I would be quite happy if somebody wanted to build a wall around Birmingham and they could do all their Birmingham stuff inside that. And I do apologize for the good people of Birmingham. They're like 1% of people who live in Birmingham who are not there's a lot of incidents, and they always seem to be happening in Birmingham. You've got the Binman strike, you've got Stabby Stabby, you've got Rabby Rammy, you've got Birmingham Council's gone bankrupt. Go and look. I don't mean like look at them like didactically. I mean go and look at Birmingham Council. Look at their pictures. Just look at their pictures. And that tells you all you need to know. So Storm Claudia aftermath live as Midlands hit with 12 flood warnings and roads blocked. So this is affecting Birmingham. This is affecting Birmingham a lot. Now, people could say that Birmingham was right in the middle of the rain, which it was. I agree. Birmingham was right in the middle of this rain that we've just had. Storm Claudia, or whatever her name is, or as I was saying calling her this morning, Clome Storia. But another thing to bring to people's minds is when utilities start to get cut, when people start, not paying for infrastructure, when people start not cleaning the drains, when people start not maintaining their infrastructure, like I've seen in many places in the Middle East, guys, they don't really bother with infrastructure. They just deal with it. Oh yeah, we've been flooded out. Our car's flooded again. That's just how they roll. That's how they roll because they don't have the cognitive capacity to think, right, okay, we need our drains cleaning. So because if it rains, we're all going to be flooded and that's going to cost us a shit ton of money. They don't have that capacity. I've got to be careful what I say while I'm on YouTube, TikTok, guys. Okay, so listen, ladies and gentlemen, you guys on TikTok, You fantastic guys on TikTok. I will be closing you guys down shortly before I start to be negative about other people. I'll keep it to the facts right now. When I jump over to YouTube and X, I will open up a little bit and talk about what things are like in the Middle Eastern countries that I've been to, which would 100%, if I said to you guys the truth, if I said, this is how wild it is, guys, okay? So for you guys on TikTok, if I told you the truth, I'd get banned. But if I said things like all countries are equal and everybody's equal and everybody deserves the same, everybody deserves to live with the same human rights, that's totally fine. That is totally fine. If I said to you things that I'd seen in the Middle East, I would be banned on TikTok. So I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to give you the headlines and then we'll come on to that shortly. So the West Midlands has woken up to the aftermath of Storm Claudia today with disruption on the road and rail networks. Roads have been left flooded while train lines have been blocked by falling trees. Hang on. No, get away from me. I don't want to buy that. Falling trees. Meanwhile, the Environment Agency has issued 12 new flood warnings across the region today. National Rail says the lines between Walsall and Rugeley, Trent Valley. I know these places very well, guys. I used to work there. National Rail says the lines between Walsall and Rugeley, Trent Valley, have been blocked due to a fallen tree. So it does look like all the swizzles are happening. It's all happening around Birmingham. And look, I get it. I do. I'm not saying that it's got something to do with the local government in Birmingham going bust, not having any money because potentially they were spending their money on other things. Maybe they were spending more money. Maybe they were spending money on diversity. Maybe rather than clearing those drains, they were spending their money on diversity champions, diversity training, equality training, equity training. Maybe they were doing that. Maybe that's what they were doing. But when you get all this stuff happening, and it's always it's either Birmingham, well, obviously apart from London, it's either going to be Birmingham or Manchester. I don't think Manchester's gone as far yet, but I do see Manchester falling. And this is the way I think we're heading, guys. Honestly, if you live in a big city in the United Kingdom now, if you live in the United Kingdom, get out now. I think that, you know what? I'm going to give you guys a cutoff date. In fact, this should be a video. This should be a standalone video. The cutoff date for leaving the United Kingdom is the 26th of this month. So you've only got like 11 days to leave the United Kingdom. Why do I say that? Because there's rumors in the United Kingdom. There are rumors that the government in the United Kingdom are going to, Rachel Reeves is going to put a 20% exit tax. Now, again, I don't know what this means. I don't know what those words mean. But to me, I may be wrong. But to me, those words sound like a 20% exit tax would mean you have to give 20% of your last year's salary or 20% of your business's last year's turnover or whatever. I don't know what it is, but that's what people are floating around. A 20% exit tax. Can you imagine what would happen if there's a 20% exit tax, guys? I was at Magna today in Sheffield. I think it is Sheffield. It is Sheffield. So I don't know if anybody's ever been, guys. It's an old. You see, I was more interested in the history of the place. It's an old steel mill or a steel works, and it closed in 1993. Now, this whole building it's like a mile long. It's phenomenal. Like I can't believe this is this is heavy industry. It's huge. It's now turned into a science park. Sorry, guys, I'm flim-flammering. Industry in the United Kingdom, people getting out. So when we talk about the United Kingdom and people leaving and people fleeing, this is what's happening. Heavy industry's been closed in the United Kingdom because we can't keep up with cheaper imports from China, basically. Now, I was reading one of the excerpts on the before you go into Magna, you read these. it's like a museum as well, the old rolling mills. It was called Templeborough Rolling Mills, and it closed its doors on the 25th. I'm remembering now, guys. On the 25th of November, 1993. Closed, done, finished, not coming back. Now, this was the biggest steel mill in the country. You know, it's phenomenal, guys. It really is impressive if you go there. You know, the steel, you've got these big hooks and these big industry, and everything looks like it's strong and built to last. Couldn't last the Labour government, though, could it? Now, when you go into this place, you read on the walls as you go in, like local news articles from, I don't know, Sheffield Gazette or whatever it's called. I don't know. It might not be called that. But there was one guy, and he was saying they went on strike because they wanted more pay. But because the people went on strike at that time, they went on strike wanting more pay. They couldn't compete. The business closed. And now it's done. Over. 10,000 jobs lost. And part of me was like thinking, that's what you get if you go on strike. And then I'm thinking about, like, you know, today, and it's just like so much stuff. There's so many lessons from history we can take. So many lessons from history we can take, guys, you know. So many lessons we can take, you know. You try and take too much, you'll get nothing. And that's the reality. So going back to that, this is where I'm segueing it into what's happening in the United Kingdom right now. So Rachel Reeves, and I'm not saying she is, I'm saying she may do, and these numbers have been floated around. If Rachel Reeves, oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, guys, I'm just watching a police raid here. It came up on Birmingham Live. I don't know what this is. It's just saying Ahmed Ali found guilty of murdering pensioner, and it shows you the police arresting him. And that's the headline. I don't know why that popped up, guys. I don't know why that popped up. But apparently somebody called Ahmed Ali has been found guilty of murdering a pensioner. Now, because this is on Birmingham Live, I'm going to assume that's an incident in Birmingham. Again, it just brings all this stuff into Birmingham. Literally, Birmingham. Does look like Birmingham is out. They're having a right good tear up in Birmingham. So what I'm getting here, guys, is when you get people like Rachel Reeves, you know, taking down 20% exit tax if you want to leave the United Kingdom, more taxes for employers, more taxes on employers, more national insurance tax. Sorry, what is it? The employers' national insurance tax. When you destroy small businesses, those people leave. And this is a perfect example, and I saw this today. Heavy industry in Sheffield went because the people, and I don't know why they went on strike. I'm going to say they wanted more money, which is ultimately what everybody wants. I get that. Everybody wants more money. Go, you find me somebody that wants less money. You go and find me somebody who says, do you know what, Sean? I get paid too much at my job. I wish I didn't get paid this much. I wish I actually got paid less. Find me that person, guys. Find me that person. You find me that person, and I will find you a liar. Hang on, my cushion's off my cushion feels weird under my bum. Right, let me jump onto the chat, guys. Sorry, I'm totally waffling here, guys. I'm totally waffling. All right. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am on early. I've just realised I'm putting the chat on. I totally forgot. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, so we are talking. Good evening, Sharon Park. I hope Sharon Park's okay. Templamat is saying, you're on early. Yes, I am on early. I am indeed on early. I've got a lot to get through. I could have either come on early or stayed on late, and I just thought, you know what? The first part of this live stream is going to be a little bit of revision work for what we talked about earlier, because earlier on in the live stream, I had to cut it short because I had to leave the house. We had a lot of stuff to do. Guys, that's it. Oh, hang on. This cushion's doing my head in. This is like a communist cushion. It will just never be in the right place. Yeah, so hang on, let that camera focus. Is that right? There we are. Yeah, so this morning we were talking about the situation in Ukraine and how that is dragging, and how the situation in Ukraine is dragging NATO into that conflict. And the battle map has updated now, guys. So I will share that with you guys over on YouTube. We were also saying how NATO is not ready. And I'll read you this again, guys. Okay. So this is an article from, where is it? So this is an article from The Independent, published today. This published today, guys, at 16:41. That doesn't sound right because I read it this morning. Whatever, that's what it's saying. If I think my computer's on US time, whatever. It was published today, basically. It was published today. Now, this is a comment. I'm going to read you this in a second, guys. Okay, I started the live stream by saying this. This is a comment from someone on the front line in Ukraine, and they're saying, "This is the future of war, and the West." Sorry, this is the future of war, and the West isn't ready for what is coming in an open conflict with Russia. Mass casualties and a transformation of the battlefield beyond anything that NATO's armies are training for. It's like these people are now listening to, it's like these guys are watching my old videos, right? They're watching my old videos and thinking, oh, wow, yeah, listen to what Sean's saying here. Guys, listen, you need to listen to my new videos. You need to listen to my new videos. What I'm saying is coming. Because right now, ladies and gentlemen, here in the West, if we do not get conscripts, it's a lose. It's an absolute lose. If we don't get conscripts in the West, it is an absolute. Let me just change this camera around because yeah, if we don't get conscripts in the West, guys, it's a lose. It's an L. It's a massive L. And that is counter to what everybody has been saying. Although now I do think the conversation is changing with regards to the conflict in Ukraine. And I have got a little video that I'm going to share with you guys as well. Right, let me jump over here, guys, because yes, I do it. Yes, I am on early, guys. I am on early. So good evening, everyone. But I will be. Andy Bishop. Sorry, not Andy Bishop. That's somebody I used to be in the army with. Belfast and beyond is saying, Sean, I heard someone saying the RAF should be looking after our shores. Why isn't this happening? Well, that is the thing, isn't it? You know, and in the back of my mind, guys, I've always got this, like, no government can be this incompetent. Like, it can't be. So just for you guys on TikTok, I know that the camera keeps moving on TikTok. Just for you guys on TikTok, Belfast and Beyond's put a comment up, and I've got this on the screen. Sean, I heard someone saying the RAF should be looking after our shores. Why isn't this happening? Well, I'd say what he means is the military. So like like maybe the Navy, like the Navy should be maybe the Navy. But you know, the only logical way I can think of this is there's two options, actually. There's two options. One, total destruction of British culture, civilization, and total destruction of the West. That could be the reality. Or they're bringing these people in because they know they're going to need conscripts, and they're looking at what's happening with the. We're going to be able to tell on the 1st of January, guys. We will, well, maybe not the 1st of January, maybe like a week after or whatever. So what I'm talking about here is the Germans are starting their phase 1 conscription. Before anybody puts it in the chat, no, Sean, the Germans are not starting phase 1 conscription. It's just a mandatory medical survey by the military. I'm like, yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, all right. Trust me, all right? In my opinion, speculation, analysis, and for you guys, for entertainment purposes only, that is phase 1 conscription. Because what they've said, the Germans, I don't know if you guys know this, I'll just give you a quick update. The Germans have said, as of the 1st of January, 2026, every man 18 or over has to go and register for a military medical, and they'll be given a questionnaire. And in that questionnaire, it will say, do you wish to serve with the German military? If they tick yes, they can tick yes, or they can tick no. Totally fine. If they don't get the numbers ticking yes, then the Germans have said they will bring in mandatory military service, which is not conscription. This is not. Look, guys, we know the direction that this is going right now. Now, when I think about this, sorry, Belfast and beyond, I'm totally aware. I'm just totally going off on a side quest on your question. I will come back to your question in a minute and answer that. So when I think about this, when I think about Germany, I can remember Angela Merkel standing up there. I was actually in Syria when Angela was. I think I was in Syria. I may not have been in Syria, but I was in Syria around about that time. I can remember northeast Syria. I can remember seeing Angela Merkel on the TV saying, "Yeah, if you are a refugee and you can make your way to Germany, we will accept you and we will look after you, yeah? And we have very good Ladenhosen." So I can remember that happening. And you guys, if you guys know how to use the Google net, you guys can understand, doing a quick search on crime rates and immigration rates into Germany. And and all over Europe as well, all over Europe. Anywhere that imports mass numbers of uncontrolled migrants seems to have a sharp spike in crime rates. I wonder if there's any correlation there. Do you think there's any correlation there? Do you think there's any pattern recognition? Pattern recognition? Pattern recognition saved humans' lives for so long. When you go out into the imagine cavemen, right? You're out there, you're doing your caveman shit, all right? You've got your spear, and you see a lion, and you remember the last 3 times that somebody from your tribe tried to stroke a lion, they got gobbled up. They got gobbled up, and they were in the lion's belly, and the lion was going nom 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 nom. And you're like, right, okay, right. Pattern recognition. Yeah, right, okay, right. I remember last 3 times. Yeah, Jono, Big Mickey, and Mickey One Leg all got gobbled by them lions. Right, okay, and then you've got somebody on this side saying, actually, all lions are equal. Yeah, all lions are equal. They deserve the same fate. You're like, right, okay. I know what you're saying. I get that. But I can still remember Mickey Big Ears, Jono, and whoever else I said getting eaten by those lions, right? So, that's pattern recognition. That it's what it's what humans have done for thousands of years, all right? Go over there, fire, touch fire, burny hand. I recognize that if I touch fire, burny hand hurt it. Don't touch fire because it burny hand and burny hand hurt it. I don't want to be hurt it. Simples, all right? It's simples. Right, Belfast and beyond. I don't know how we got there from that question, but listen, Belfast and beyond. Sorry, guys. Belfast and beyond is saying, should the military, why isn't the military protecting our shores? The simple answer is because they've not been told to. That's a simple answer. The military haven't been told to. Now, if you want to follow that back and you keep going down that chain, the next question is, okay, why haven't the military been told to protect our shores? Okay, the simple answer, the most logical answer to that. And again, when I'm giving you these answers, they are very, very simple answers, but you'll understand why they have to be simple because, people try and overcomplicate answers. Oh, we can't do this because of this and this less. And this. Shut up, you lunatic. All right. This is the military are not protecting our borders because they've not been told to. Simple. That is absolutely it. There's no other. Nothing else. That is it. Okay. Why haven't the military been told to go and secure our borders? Oh, my tinnitus. Oh. Yeah, that's what firing a 50 cal does. Sorry, guys. It just does it sometimes. It's gone now. Oh, Yeah, so that question is, why haven't the military been, because they've not been told to. Okay, why haven't they been told to? Okay, they haven't been told to go and stop the borders because the government don't want to close the borders. It's very simple for the government of the United Kingdom to close the borders. They put a battleship. They'd only need one battleship or an aircraft carrier. You know, those two aircraft carriers that don't work. Put one of those on the border in the English Channel between where that crossover point is. Simple. It's very simple to stop these migrants, the boat migrants coming to the United Kingdom. Very simple, guys. Very simple. Now, the next question is why? And the only answer I can think of, the only answer that fits is because they want these migrants here. That's the only answer, guys. I genuinely can't think of another answer why that would be. And if you can think of another answer, you know, I don't believe that it's because of the ECHR or because of these guys or whatever. It's all fake. I mean, look how quickly Keir Starmer can reinterpret laws to suit themselves. Look how quickly they can send people to jail for tweets and X posts. Well, speaking about X posts, my X feed has been absolutely inundated with rumors about Donald Trump and Bill Clinton. Now, I don't think it's true, but I think the videos are funny. Emma Green is saying, as long as we don't have to talk Russian, as I won't have a hope in hell of speaking Russian. Languages are easy once you get immersed in a language. You know, once you get immersed in a language, you are all over it. Right, I'm going to jump down, guys. I'm going to jump down because there's quite a lot of comments on this chat. I'm going to jump down and then I will jump back onto the. Sean, search Franny Tomo and watch the video. Honestly, if you didn't think the government was helping, that vid will change your mind. Well, first of all, I do think. Donna, what video is it? Because I've probably seen it. What video is it? Let me, what is it? Franny Tomo. Let me just have a look here. What's just happened? Oh, my internet's going funny. Right, Franny Tomo. Let me search for Franny Tomo. I don't know who Franny Tomo is. I've never heard this guy. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything with Franny Tomo. You're going to have to help me. You're going to have to help me more. Donna, you're going to have to help me a little bit here. You're going to have to help me out. Search Franny Tomo. Fanny Tomo, not Franny. Sorry. Okay, right. Fanny Tomo. That's a bit... Okay, I'll just go with there. I'll go with there. I hope this is not going... You're going to send me some... No, nothing. Not off it. Nothing. No. I've got nothing as Fanny Tomo. I've got Danny Tomo. Yeah, I can't find anything on that. But you know, there are lots of videos out there that, like, for me, the biggest smoking gun. And it's not a new one either. It's quite an old one. The biggest smoking gun for me with the migrants coming to the United Kingdom is the life jackets, guys. The life jackets, you know. So let me just talk through real quick the life jacket scenario in the United Kingdom. So if you're international, this is what happens, guys, okay? If you don't really like, you know, in America, you have a lot of guys crossing over the border on the what is it, over the Rio Grande. Here in the United Kingdom, they come over the water. They come on boats. Now, they all come in these beautiful orange life jackets. I don't think are they life jackets or buoyancy aids? I think they're actually buoyancy aids, but whatever. We'll just call them life jackets. I think a life jacket has to have like a light and a whistle and like, I don't know. Whatever. I'm just being semantic. So these life jackets now, we'll call them life jackets. So if you're international, we get like maybe 100 migrants on a rubber dinghy. They come over and they're wearing these life jackets. So what happens is then with these life jackets, and we've seen this now. There was a documentary by what's his name, Chris Philp, and Chris Philp's a member of Parliament in the United Kingdom. So this guy, Chris Philp, he's out on the water now, and he's listening into the communications between the British RNLI, Royal, I don't know, it's the Migrant Taxi Service, basically. So border security, whatever. So the border guys go out there and they get these migrants, and then the French say, "Hey guys, thank you for taking the migrants. Can you send me back 50 life jackets?" And then he goes, or whatever number it was, and then he gets back on the radio and he's like, "Yeah, I'll send you back 50 or 100 or whatever it is." In that instance, can anyone tell me how that is not the government helping the criminal gangs? Because any government with a brain cell would say, right, those life jackets are property of the British government now. We're going to burn them. But that's how we roll. We're not rolling those through. But as we know, as you guys know from me, it's very difficult to buy these things at scale. And I was talking about this like maybe last year. I was talking about this. I was saying, right, I don't see how all these life jackets guys, because I've tried to buy stuff at scale. So that's the first smoking gun on how the government in the United Kingdom are working with the government in France to bring migrants into the United Kingdom. There is what I've just said there, that would stand up in a court of, okay, for entertainment purposes, while I'm on TikTok, what I've just said there would stand up in a court of law, because the government, through the RNLI, through the government institutions, are sending those life jackets back to France, where those life jackets ended up. They're giving them to other migrants. So in that context, the government, I don't know how anyone can, like, if somebody can argue that case, like, objectively, please put it in the chat, guys, okay? But in that instance with the life jackets, the government are actively helping bring migrants over to the United Kingdom by sending those life jackets back. There's no arguments, guys. There's absolutely no arguments. If you want to say, right, imagine this, right, we're not sending any migrants unless they've got life jackets. And the government say, oh, well, we'll just stop the life jackets then. After a couple of thousand, that's it. Done, swiddly done. Because it takes time to produce those life jackets. The next thing, and I don't know if this is the video that Donna was talking about, and the next thing is, and again, I've said this before, but if you're international and you're watching, there's lots of these videos out. There was a video I watched, Andrew Bridgen shared it, and there's a guy, and he's covert filming all these migrant rubber dinghies. And he films them getting loaded onto the back of a truck. I think he's on like an electric bike or something. And then he manages to get the vehicle registration number of the truck. It's like one of those big Arctic lorries. And then the rubber dinghies go on the back of the truck. And then he follows the truck, and then he manages to see the truck getting on a ferry going to France. Now, of course, we don't know what happened to that rubber dinghy when it got into France. I can't see why they would be sending it to France. Just not even deflated. There you go, lads. Come back on this one. Make sure, we don't want those NGOs running out of rubber dinghies. So I don't think it's without merit that I say that the government in the United Kingdom are helping the migrants come into the United Kingdom. Right, guys, I am going to jump down again. I'm going to look at the band again. He's saying Andrew Bridgen is a legend. Silly Gallardi is saying someone surely profits a lot from letting these migrants in. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. No, what was I? Somebody would, yeah, I think for each, now I said like a while ago, I think that what I'd heard is that each migrant that comes to the United Kingdom gets they're budgeted for £200 a day, Now, that would go for their food, accommodation, and welfare. So you can see that is big business. You know, that really is big business. And again, you've just got to ask yourself the question, you know, this is destroying our society. I was watching a video today of a girl filming. I think he was an African migrant. I'm going to assume he was African. And he was trying the door of her car, and he's got his hood up and he's doing these gang signs. And she says he's doing all this strange stuff with his hands that she didn't really understand. But this is like in South Africa now, guys. Okay, like in South Africa, people run to your car and try and get you, and they're laughing. They're going, "I am good, I am good." Yeah, they're good until they get the club out, and you guys, I keep forgetting you guys are watching. You guys are still watching, right? What time we're right? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you guys that are watching on TikTok, I am going to close you guys down in 4 minutes, all right? So I just don't want to get the live stream banned, okay, guys? If I talk about other nations, if I talk about, if I say anything remotely, one of the reasons I got banned, and it was kind of the final straw, I've done a lot of work training militaries around the world, and I gave my opinion on that while I was on the live stream, and some algorithm who's probably never left wherever that algorithm lives, banned me for giving my opinion. So unfortunately, guys, you know, I am going to close this live stream down on TikTok in like 3.5 minutes or whatever. So if you want to continue this live stream, if you want to continue this conversation, if you want to build part of a powerful team, jump over to YouTube, guys. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, and I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. Do you know what? Mohammed Dashfak is asking me to join. He's got 1 follower. Should I just let him join and see what happens? No, he's gone. Mohammed Dashfak's gone. Anyway. But yeah, as Silly's saying, somebody must be profiting, and they must be here for a reason. And Nikki Bishop, absolutely. So Nikki Bishop over on YouTube is saying, 100% the government wants them here. They have an agenda that we are not privy to. I agree. There's definitely an agenda. The government definitely want these migrants here. They could stop them like that, diddly swat. The reason, you know, and the next question is, what is this agenda? Now, I don't know, guys. I'll be honest with you. It could be, you know, it could be they know there's a war with Russia and they want to, and they know they can't win without conscripts. I've been saying for this like forever. You know, if there's a war with Russia, we can't win without conscripts. And I mean masses and masses and masses of conscripts. And it's going to be an absolutely brutal, bloody war. And there's going to be people switching sides and flopping sides. And, you know, these guys are going to, it's just going to be carnage, all right? It's not going to be war in the context of a conventional war. It's going to be a war in the context of just masses of people doing bad stuff to each other. That's what it's going to be. Sorry, guys, let me just jump up. And the Duchess is saying maybe the same people paying the PP protesters. I don't know what the PP protesters are. Could be the same people. Oh, right. Okay. I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to assume the Duchess is, and the Duchess, what a fantastic thumbnail you've got, Duchess. I mean, that is a fantastic thumbnail. Are you a real Duchess? Like the Duke. So Prince Andrew, allegedly, not even Prince Andrew, Andy Windsor. When you read through the email transcripts of these Epstein files, Prince Andrew, or Andy Windsor, as we call him now, Andy Windsor, he's scaffolding. No, he does roofing. Oh yeah, I know Andy. You know, Andy Windsor. His username or his like tag or whatever on these group chats was the Duke. And look, guys, I'm just going to put it out there. I think that's funny. I do. Think what you want, guys. I think that's funny. Lisa Jane is saying, Danny Tomo says that there are no gangs. It's the French sending those that they don't want in there. Right, okay. Right. Danny, right, okay. Okay. Is it Danny Tomo, not Fanny Tomo? Right, okay. Let me search for Danny. Right, okay. Let me search for Danny Tomo. Right, I don't know who this guy is. I've been searching for Fanny Tomo. Right, okay, I've got him. Right, okay, I've got this. Right, I'm going to share this with you guys. I hope, in fact, you know what time are we on? Hang on. Right, I've got this video, guys. I'm going to share it with you guys on YouTube. I'm going to share it with you guys now. Listen, guys, I'm going to close you guys down now on TikTok. I'm going to be sharing a video. I don't know what this video is going to say. It may have some cuss words in it. It may be a little controversial, and it would get me banned on TikTok. So I'm going to close you guys down now on TikTok. I will just be streaming on YouTube and X. If you want to go follow this conversation, guys, I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, and I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. But if not, don't worry, because I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. Right, let me turn this thing off. Are we off? We are off. We are off. Right, so thanks for that, guys. Let me close that. Right, well, I'm going to share with you guys this video here, this Danny Tomo video, and let's see what it's all about. No, I'm not going to share it yet. I'm going to share it. Hang on. I always forget how to share things. Right, there we are. There we are. Right, I think this is the one we're talking about.
Used again. This boat is what they've got that size now, double that 3-4 times. The size of that thing when we first saw it was unbelievable.
Absolutely massive. Thank you, guys. Well done.
And these guys we've been communicating through. We've been communicating with translator. These guys are as angry. These are not police. These are local guys.
They told us 100 kilometres of beach.
Be used again. Never be used again.
Each kick is for one of you at home.
Yeah.
And what we've done today has proved that just with 2 people on the ground, we have 2 lads on the ground. 2 lads on the ground.
We've been here since 5:30 this morning, hiding in the sand dunes, really waiting. Have. We really have. So, and we knew that we'd find something. We knew that we had reporters on the beach. Everything was going on. But then when we found the boat, we found the brand spanking new engine that would have been used over and over again to funnel in murderers, rapists, child abusers into our country.
Buried in a hole.
It's never been used, that.
It's never been used.
And the size of the boat, I mean, it's brand spanking new. You can actually smell.
Smell fresh rubber.
You can smell that that's literally been put here last night, ready for them to come be busting. And the thing that Ryan's worked out here, which is really, really important that people know, is back home, we're being fed a lie.
Right, guys, before we get onto this, right, listen, before we get onto this video, right, this is fantastic what these guys are doing. Like, honestly, like, I want to go out there right now. I want to get my passport and just go. I want to go out there and help these guys right now, guys. I want to go and help these guys. Can you remember me months back saying, I'll go and stop them. I will literally go and stop the migrant crisis right now. I'll get 12 guys. We'll go out there. We'll operate in teams of 4. We will close these migrant gangs down. I will get these people traffickers. We will get them back to the United Kingdom by hook or crook. And I will just, we'll have them tied up and packaged and sent to the to the Scotland Yard or whatever. And we'll say, yeah, this is one. This is another one. This is another one. Can you remember how easy I said this would be? Can you guys remember how confident I was about closing these gangs down? This is all it takes. This is fantastic, guys. Thank you for putting me onto this, Donna.
The biggest lie of all is that this is a gang trafficking operation. No, there are no gangs. There are no gangs. There is no money being exchanged for people getting on boats. This is literally the French government bringing people to the shores on pre-booked buses, bringing them to the shores here. The boats are ready to go. The boats are being put here. They take them up there, and the French just watch them. Literally just watch them. There are no gangs. There are no money. There's no money being exchanged for getting on these boats. It's a huge, massive operation.
If 2 English patriots hadn't have seen this today, this would have been going.
And they've had
to do this because we've seen it.
The size of the boat,
massive.
I mean, you could literally probably.
You see, what they should be doing there is gathering information. And look, guys, what they're doing is fantastic. You know what they're doing is fantastic. I'm not going to be one to sit here in the back seat and say, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I think maybe another way that you could go around this, if you wanted to have greater capacity and understand where these things were coming from, and try and figure out what these things, what it's all about, you could put a tracking device on that engine. Again, look, guys, this is just another option. I'm not, what they're doing is what they feel, and that's right. And I'm not out there. I'm not going to tell them what to do. You could put a tracking device on those, on the motor or whatever. You could then see where that motor goes. You could also wait and have an observation post on that motor and on that location. And then when those people turn up, you can then start to follow the coach drivers. You can then start to follow the bus drivers. You can then expand that network and find out where that network actually is. What these guys are doing is absolutely fantastic. It's going to be very difficult for the French authorities to stop them, because to stop them, they're going to have to say that, what are they going to arrest them for? Literally, what are they going to arrest them for? They found a rubber dinghy. They found an old used rubber dinghy and put some holes in it. They found an old motor that was buried in the sand. It's going to be very difficult, because if the French authorities stop them, and I'm just thinking legally now, guys, okay, because that's what happens ultimately. I think it's fantastic what they're doing. Let's play this video, guys. Thank you for putting me onto this. Let me continue this video.
And that's one of the big ones, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
definitely
one of the big ones, yeah.
So what we did today has potentially prevented rapists, murderers entering into the UK. Yeah, okay, we've gone maybe for another day, but it just takes a bit of action. It just takes a little bit of action to get things done. So
last week we prevented over 100 last week, but that was only through boots on the ground. But today, to uncover this, it's like, we haven't seen many today, but to hit the jackpot, this was going to England. This was coming to a town near you guys.
I think that's fantastic, guys. I genuinely want to go out there. I want to go out there right now. I want to get my passport. I want to drive to Dover, get on a plane. I was going to say get on a plane, get on a ferry, get myself over to Dover and say, I got you guys. I got you. I'm here. Everything's okay. But yeah, thanks for putting me onto that, guys. I really appreciate that. Fantastic video. From, what's his name? Danny, not Fanny Tomo. This is from Danny Tomo. Look, and can you guys remember when I said I'd close these? I would close these networks down within a year. If I give me 12 guys and a budget, I'll close these guys down in 12 months. The problem with these guys, and again, look, I think what they're doing is fantastic. It's really good. I'm just worried about where's the sustainability, because that, Danny Tomo, I don't know who's funding him. The other guy with the long hair, I don't know where they're getting their funds from. So I don't know. And then as soon as that turns into a crowdfunder, you start getting all these bad people coming, and then they've got their little agendas. Right now, it's just some guys wanting to do the right thing, which was what it should be. And, when you start, for example, if they did a crowdfunder now, they did a crowdfunder and they reached, I don't know, $1 million, well, probably not $1 million, 10 million quid. They got 10 million quid. 10 million quid is an awful big incentive to say, yeah, I'm good with this. So I don't know how that would work, guys. I don't know how that would work. Right, let me jump to the bottom, guys, and then I want to jump back to you. I've not even touched Ukraine yet, have we? We've not even touched Ukraine. Trevor Pritchard is saying the UK government probably didn't give the French any money because they're all in it together. It probably went in somebody's bank account, allegedly. John Enoch Powell, speaking from the grave, is saying, we all know where they're getting their funding. FGS. I don't know what FGS is, guys. I don't know what FGS means. my God. Oh my God. Guys. The cars just drove past with a massive speaker shouting Keir Starmer's a wanker. There's literally on the road, I've just heard a car drive or a van or something screaming Keir Starmer's a wanker. Guys, that was surreal. That was surreal. You guys probably didn't hear it. Then I heard, but it was like to that, what's that song? That Seven Nation Army. Ba, 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 ba. Literally just drove past and I heard somebody chant. It was on a microphone, on a megaphone, Keir Starmer's a wanker. Welcome to the United Kingdom in 2025, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Jacqueline Butterworth is saying, I saw a video today of hidden motorboats and phones on UK beaches. Well, I think they would be they may be for criminal gangs that are coming over. Wow, that was crackers. Fallen Angel is saying 22 is filming them Monday and his own boat. You'll see it yourself. And the Willow Fairy is saying, Sean, they need men like you. Look, guys, I think it's fantastic what these people are doing. Like what I've just seen, it just shows you guys. I posted a video on X. Let me share this with you. So I posted a video on X earlier. Where was it? I don't know how to get my video. Where do I get? I don't know how to get my videos up. Hang on. I'm just having a look on X here, guys. Is it that profile? Yeah, there it is. Right, so let me so let me share this with you guys now real quick. So I posted this on X. So when people are all afraid of, they're Taliban, they're Mujahideen, they're ISIS. I'll give you. You've got this image, haven't you? You've got this image, image of these big hardened fighters. I'll show you the real Taliban. I'm going to show you the real Taliban now, guys. Okay, how for all you guys who are scared.
We got some off-price crack ties, some miles and miles of carpet tiles, TVs, deep freeze, and David Bowie LPs. All games go.
If you look at the bottom right of the screen now, guys, you'll see you'll see a young boy with a blue dish dash and a brown headscarf. Watch that guy. I'm going to talk about him later.
Chains, what's names, and head of push, and Trevor Francis track suits from a mush and shepherd's bush. Push.
There you go, guys. He must be what? 13, 14?
No income tax, no VAT, no money back, and no guarantee. Black or white, rich or poor, we'll cut prices at a straw. God bless Hooky Street, viva Hooky Street, long live Hooky Street.
I would describe that as gay as fuck. That's how I describe it, guys. Gay as shit. Now, these guys here, if they stop doing their gay dancing and they stand like this, I am Mujahideen, Taliban fighter. I am #1 executioner. I will destroy all infidels. You kind of get intimidated. You're like, oh, God, these guys are terrified. But when you know this culture like I do, right? It's nothing to be afraid of. And this is what when these people like Madapasa. Madapasa? Madapasa would be dancing with those guys. Gay as shit. Gay dancing and shit. Madapasa would be in there. And you see the young boy. I'm not going to get into it now, guys, because it's quite graphic. That young boy there, in my professional opinion, I would say he is a chai boy. And in that culture, what they do to those young boys is quite disgusting. from a Western man's opinion, from a Western man's opinion. But, people are scared of these. And I'm like, stop being scared. Like, stop it. It's absurd. But these guys drive around and they give it the big mean face. And like, I remember, guys, okay, I've done lots of training with these Afghanis. I've done lots of combat with the Afghanis, with the Iraqis, and they fail. They fail all the time. Like, honestly, all you need to do is like say, all right, should we have like a 100-meter sprint? Because like, I know that you can't run 100 sprint. I do not run. I am warrior. Yeah, but if you're fit, you can run and you can fight the enemy on their ground. No, I do not run. Okay, I will never back down. You lose every war, dude. You lose every war. Every war you've ever been in, you've lost. I used to have listen, guys, I don't know if anybody's been to Baghdad. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Nista Square. There's a circle. It's a roundabout. I think it's called Nista Square. It might not be. It might be called something totally else, different. But I think it's called Nista Square. It's not called Nista Square at all. It's not called Nista Square. Listen, guys, if anybody knows Baghdad and they know the green zone, if you come out of gate 14 and turn right and go over the river, whatever that roundabout is called there, I don't know what it's called. You can go right again and go down the river, and you go down to like where the BBC had their hotel, and then the American embassy's on the other side. But that roundabout there, on that roundabout, there's like this big war mural. And, it's really warrior, and there's all these warriors. And I said, but these things are festooned all over Baghdad. And I said to my interpreter, Ahmed, Ahmed, why do the Iraqis have all these like monuments for wars? And you guys have seen the cross swords as well. And he says, and Ahmed said to me, it was quite funny actually, he said, because we are a strong country and we are always fighting and making war with everyone. And I said, yeah, but Ahmed, you always lose. And he just put his head down and he went, yes, I know. I'm like, there's a moral to that story. I don't know where I was going with that, guys. I don't know where I was going with that, but let me jump down. The man who would be king, they owned the Afghans. I don't know Jacqueline is saying, looks like an all-inclusive holiday in the... Yeah, do you know what? It could actually be the hotels when they've got all the guns in. Right, look, guys. Right, okay. I told you we was going to be on for a long time today. So I'm going to jump now. I'm going to jump over because I started doing this at the beginning of the live stream. Oh, Sean get banned comment. Sean get banned comment. What do you call Irana Fraser? He said, I was born in Rotherham in 1972 and moved to Bournemouth around 15 years ago. You look familiar, or maybe it's just the accent. I don't, maybe, I don't know. Right, listen, guys, let me jump onto the Ukraine front, guys. Okay, so we just totally went on a side quest there. We totally went on a side quest there about migration. What I think the key thing to take about this is with this migration is it can be stopped like that. We've got, look, guys, and I'm going to caveat this. I don't know what's happened with those two. I don't know what's happened with those two guys out there. This Danny Tomo, I think it's great work. I don't know the context behind that, so I just want to put that out there. But what I've seen from that video, and I've got no reason to doubt it's false, is two people have gone over there and they're making real difference. Just two people are making real difference. Keir Starmer, like, how many millions should they get? Like, how many millions is Keir Starmer sent over to France, if he sent anything at all? And what have they achieved? That's what we need. We need guys just going out there onto the shores and cutting those rubber dinghies. Like, can you imagine now Do you know what? That's what we need. Yeah. That's what we need. We need guys out there in France, literally in France, when all the migrants run out with the rubber dinghies, they just run up to it and puncture it. That's it. Done. Done. You're actually, by doing that, what you're actually doing is you can claim through international law, you can say, that vessel is not seaworthy. If they were to go on the water, they would endanger their lives. Thus, I'm saving their lives. I don't even think you'd get arrested for that. You may get arrested for carrying like a sharp item, but you'd have to use like a stick or something. You'd have to use a claw hammer. Use a claw hammer. I don't think you can get arrested for using a claw hammer. Literally, run up to one of those rubber dinghies and whack it with the... Jesus Christ. Am I a genius? Are you guys on here because I'm a genius or what? Am I just the best genius, the whole world of geniuses? That's how we stop this, guys. We get people... Listen, did you see my train of thought there? Did you see how fantastic my train of thought is? How quick I work this shit out? That is what we need. We need a bunch of guys stood on the shores in France with their passports saying, I'm just here for, I'm here on vacation. And when they see the boat, they've got a claw hammer. It's not illegal to have a claw hammer, guys, okay? Or whatever implement you can use that's legal in France, there's going to be loads of them. But just run up to it with a claw hammer and whack the fucker on the side. And say, right, stay here for a bit longer, aren't you? See what happens. See what happens. Throw that smoky gun wagon. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump over to Ukraine now because the war in Europe is raging on. And this is the analysis now from the front line. So I'm going to give you a little paragraph here. And this is the analysis from, this is an analysis from the front line. This is the future of war, and the West isn't ready for an open conflict with Russia. Mass casualties and a transformation of the battlefield beyond anything that NATO's armies are ready for. That's what the word from the front line in Ukraine is. Now, this is from a special dispatch from the Independent, released today, 15th of November. How to fight in hell. Ukraine veterans say NATO is not ready for a war with Russia. Frontline medics and soldiers near Kramatorsk in eastern Ukraine, spelt with a small e, interesting, in eastern Ukraine, tell the World Affairs editor Sam Kiley how NATO is far from ready for a war with Russia, and its training is training for a bygone era. Literally, I feel that people are watching my old videos. They need to watch the up-to-date video. So I'm going to share with you guys a short video, and I'm going to share with you guys the first part of a short video, and then we're going to discuss.
It's a little bit difficult for me to imagine that another country could be prepared for this kind of war without having the experience or even the insight that Ukraine has.
Let's not be coy about it. We are in some kind of war already with Russia. They are attacking us with cyber operations. They are trying to and have been undermining the democratic processes in the West. And of course, they're conducting a full-scale war against Ukraine, a nation that is on our most eastern flank, right up against.
So when people come on the chat and they say, "Oh, nothing's going to happen, nothing will happen," there's always you don't understand. This is happening. It's not a case of nothing will happen. It's like imagine being stood in the pissing down rain, 4 foot up to your waist, 4 foot of water. I can't believe a car drove past with Keir Starmer's a wanker on it, guys. Honestly, that's blown my mind. You're stood there in the rain, and you're looking at somebody and they're saying, "Yeah, it never rains here. It's never raining." And you're like, "Dude, dude, like, can you see this rain coming down now? And we're like stood in 4 feet of water. Yeah, but it's always like this. This is just normal. It's just normal. And you're like, no, this ain't normal, mate. You know, this really isn't normal.
Against the Russians, but they are also conducting penetrations of NATO airspace as part of probing operations. All of this is adding up to a sense that perhaps fairly soon we may actually have to confront Russian troops on the ground. And in that context, there's a lot to learn from Ukraine. But I've been speaking to Ukrainians and other international volunteers on the ground who are operating against the Russians, and they are telling me that NATO forces and British forces within that have a long way to go before they incorporate the lessons that are being learned on the battlefields of today.
Do you think that they're ready for the next war with Russia?
No, I'm honestly a little bit terrified, because I think that first of all, no one is ever prepared for a war like this.
Now, Rebecca is a veteran of nearly 4 years of combat in Ukraine, and her analysis just of the medical challenges, I think, are very, very revealing, because she has had NATO training, and in her view, it really did not account for reality.
No, I think if you were to talk to military officials, they would reassure you that everything's under control, they're well equipped, they're well prepared. But I don't think anyone can be prepared for a conflict like this.
I'm going to leave it there, guys, okay? If you want to watch the rest of that video, it's on, where is it on? It's on Independent. I'm just going to talk through now, guys, in my own words, what we're actually talking about here and why the governments are not prepared. First of all, the mass of... You've heard the phrase, too many chefs spoil the broth, too many chiefs, not enough Indians. You guys have heard that phrase, right? That's like NATO at the moment. You know, you've got all these different countries with all their different all their different political stances, all their different internal politics. And, you know, a lot of these politicians, from what I've, you know, remember, guys, I was standing I was standing in the last election for reform. I resigned because I just didn't like how it just seemed dirty, guys. It seemed like a dirty business. It seemed like a really dirty business. So I resigned from that. And, you know, I did. I don't want to dwell on that now. What I'm getting at here is when you get all these politicians that are only thinking about themselves, and they do only think about themselves, you know, these problems are inevitable. You know, do we send, like, for example, I was watching, and this is how things happen. I was watching, I think it was Sean Ryan. Yeah, it was like a Sean Ryan podcast. And he was interviewing one of the guys who claimed to be on the Bin Laden raid. And he was saying, so why did the helicopter crash? And he was saying the helicopter crashed because they were supposed to go on that mission the day before. But Obama phoned up and he said, can you push it to the right one day? And when they pushed it to the right one day, the weather changed and it was either hotter or colder, and the helicopter didn't perform as predicted. So the helicopter crashed, potentially jeopardizing the Obama Bin Laden strike, because Obama wanted to go to a dinner. And this is how politicians work, you know. So you can imagine now trying to fight a war, and somebody's like, "Oh, yeah, don't take that building, don't take that city yet, because I've got some shit to do over here." It's just dirty, guys. It's absolutely dirty. I don't see a way around it. Also, NATO are gearing for the last war, and that's the reality, because they don't have any experience. I have more experience now, guys. I have more experience on the front line in Ukraine than most of our generals in the UK military. And by experience on the front line, I don't mean I've not read pamphlets and read reports and spoke to people. I've actually been there and witnessed it and seen it myself with these things. So I know what that front line's like. I know what, and listen, guys, you know, I'm not gonna say I'm up to date, because the implementation of these small fixed wing, where's my thing? I did have it. These drones, you see those ones, those quadcopter things? Because the use of those quadcopters has absolutely, it really has changed the battlefield. Not in a disruptive way, but it's certainly changed the battlefield now. So you put all this into a bag, and absolutely NATO's not ready, guys. NATO is not ready, and they're not going to be ready. They're going to learn. It's going to be hard. There's going to be lots of hard lessons to learn, because all these generals and these military commanders, their experience is in Afghanistan. Their experience is in Iraq. Maybe even some of the older ones, their experience is in Northern Ireland. So now they're thinking, all right, yeah, well, when we was in Afghanistan, this is what we needed. In Afghanistan, you were fighting an insurgency. Now, you fight an insurgency, for example, you would have a compound or an alpha, or a compound with a series of alphas in it. You would go in, you would take that, you would attack that alpha. Yes, you could be attacked from 360 degrees, but once you dealt with the threat inside, you could leave. You could do helicopter insertions, you could do fast roping, you could do all sorts of stuff. In Ukraine, no way, Bob, no way, that ain't happening. You've got a front line, so doing helicopter insertions deep behind enemy lines, it's like you're just going to get, those helicopters are just going to get shot down, guys. That's the reality. They're just going to get shot down. Nobody's going to risk a 30 million. Nobody's going to risk a 30 million CH-47 or Chinook, two of them, because you need to go in twos. So nobody's going to risk 60 million in helicopters filled with special forces guys, weapons, technology. Nobody's going to risk that getting shot down and falling into Russian hands. It's not going to happen. So these combat operations that you would do in Afghanistan or Iraq, they don't happen anymore, guys. All right, they don't happen. You're looking at frontline green warfare, and it's brutal, it's hard, and ultimately it's going to be won or lost with private soldiers carrying 5.56 or 7.62 or 5.45, whatever they roll with, bayonets fixed and hand grenades. And this is what's leading to a conscript army. And that's the way the Russians are playing. That's the way the Russians are being successful. And as I'm speaking about the Russians being successful on this battlefield, guys, I'm going to share with you guys the battlefield map now. Let me do this now because it has updated. So earlier on this morning, I shared this map with you guys. In fact, I'll share this map. So earlier on this morning, we were talking about the town of Pokrovsk. Now, they've not moved much, but this was the battlefield as of the 13th. And as of the 14th, they've just moved forwards a little bit here. Now, this is key because I think they are using this road as a handrail. Once they take control of, once this here goes over that side of that road, that's it then. That is it. Because those guys that are left in Pokrovsk, they've got no way to extract. So once these guys can make it over that road, and maybe I would say the next Harshishan. Sorry, guys, I just that word. Once these guys, once these Russian guys manage to make it over this road, and I would say they would go firm in this like little tree line here or wherever this is by this river, very hard to cross rivers. I would say they're just going to hold there. And then these guys are going to want to come down from the north. But once this main supply route here has been closed off, it's pretty much game over for the Ukrainians. They can't go anywhere then. If the Russians manage to get up there to take that river, then the Ukrainians can't get out. They're literally blocked off. So then all the Russians need to do is close this up. And they don't really need to even go in there. They can just leave them to do whatever, leave them to let their food run out, and they'll surrender in time. So now we've got an understanding of the battlefield, and we understand that on this map, on the ground, once that town of Pokrovsk has fallen, there's literally nothing from there to there. Open Vasilka, open farming ground. The only thing that will slow the Ukrainians down, the only things that will slow the Russians down from making it all the way to the Dnipro is the weather. In fact, let's have a look what the weather's like. Let's see what the weather's like in right there at the moment. Where's the weather thing? Let's see what it's like. Is this working? Sometimes it doesn't. Right, okay. So the weather is what is it? 5.9 degrees Celsius. So it's 5.9 degrees. So it's pretty nippy. Pretty nippy. It's not got real cold yet. I mean, this area, guys, this area will get down to minus, like, a warm summer. Sorry, a warm winter in Ukraine is minus 10. So, you know, you guys put on it yourselves what you think about that. Anyway, guys, right. So what I'm getting at here, is NATO are absolutely not ready for this war. Not ready even remotely. They're obviously, like that lady said, what were her name? I don't know. Whatever her name was. You know, she said, and she's absolutely true, that you get these commanders and these generals saying, yes, we're ready, you know, we're ready for this threat, we're prepared. The reality is, guys, they are so far away from the mark, it's unbelievable. And I keep saying this, guys, okay? They need conscripts. NATO need conscripts, and that's the only way. Right, let me jump down and get some comments. James is saying there is no way now Ukraine can go toe-to-toe with Russia. There are far too many Russians with too much equipment. It's turning into suxi mission. I don't know what's... Oh, right, okay, I know what suxi mission is, yeah. And again, it's not the kit and equipment. It's the way the Russians are operating. So, you know, here in the West... We're sending Humvees, we're sending, you know, all these trucks, all these, you know, and people are making big money, guys. People are making big money, you know, because those Humvees need to be serviced by someone, you know, and that someone has to use manufactured, you know, manufacturers approved parts, or the, you know, the warranty doesn't work and it, you know, they won't replace it if it goes. I know this, guys, you know, because I was in the military and I can remember having to do anal things because people were saying, oh, if you do that, the truck, the warranty's void on the truck. You're like, what? We're in a war zone. All warranties are void. That shit don't work. Anyway. But you can imagine now, like, you can imagine the two militaries, all right? The two militaries, how they're, you know, how they're fared up right now. Okay, NATO, and again, guys, I've said this all along. This is how the first conflicts will go between. Listen, guys, if you're on and you've not done so already, can you please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share my stuff, guys? Because I really do appreciate it when you do that. It really pumps me up through that algorithm. So, can you guys imagine the first conflicts now? And this is how it's going to be. These are going to be the headlines, you know, from people like that. What was his name? Mark Kiley or whatever it was his name was. You know, the first headlines when NATO troops come against Russian troops are going to be. Hang on. Where the, you know, the first headlines are going to be NATO weapons tear through Russian tanks like confetti. British forces storm. 200 British soldiers storm 2,000 poorly armed conscripts. NATO forces take more ground in one day than Russia did in 1 year. You know, they're going to be the headlines initially. They're going to be the initial headlines. But for those of you guys who was on the live stream the other day, I said I was going to do an in-depth on this, but we was on the live stream, like, I can't remember when it was. And I asked Google, I asked the AI, I said, right, okay, what does it cost to deploy a Russian conscript? And I think it was like $1,400. And then I asked, what does it cost, not even to deploy, what does it cost to train a British soldier? And it was like, there was two answers. There was 67,000 and 47,000. So it's expensive. So top end financially, for one British soldier, you can deploy 50 Russian conscripts. Now imagine that on a battlefield, all right? Imagine that on a battlefield, yeah? You've got one British soldier and 50 Russian soldiers. Who's going to win? Doesn't matter your training, guys. It doesn't matter how well you're trained. It doesn't. And I get technology leverages manpower, and it does. What was that thing that was going on? Could 10 men beat a gorilla or something? So now you've got to leverage that. And that sounds a little bit like my analogy that I've given you guys with the two football teams. 1,000 players versus 10 versus 11. Yeah, they're the better players, but these guys are going to win because there's more. Oh, but Sean, Russia's dried out. They haven't got any more conscripts. Do you know what? Every Russian is a potential conscript. That's how they roll. That's how they do war. You don't need time to train these conscripts. You literally just push them forwards. So that's manpower, all right? That's manpower analysis. Let's talk about kit and equipment. Okay? So NATO forces are sending in their best, their best drones, maybe cost, 100 grand or whatever, and they're built by the best defense manufacturers in the United Kingdom. And in those defense manufacturers in the United Kingdom, they've got all the little ticks in boxes, and they've all got their health and safety certificates. And the man who packs the fire he's got secret clearance, and they're all special because they do defense. The Russians are building shit in garages. They're literally just throwing shit together in garages. So, which one of those two is good? Which one? And then you get this fake metric. So, you get this metric that says, well, we're actually outspending the Russians by... You're not outspending shit. Nobody's outspending shit, guys, all right? If it costs you 50 times more to send one guy, then your metrics are wrong. Because everybody talks about outspending, and you'll see this, guys. You'll see this. Just remember this, okay? You will see people talk about outspending another nation. NATO can outspend Russia. It's bullshit. It's a fake. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If they change and said, oh, right, the next question you need to ask them is, right, okay, can you out-manufacture Russia? That's the real question. Can you provide more? The costs are relevant. The cost doesn't mean anything. In a war like what's coming, money doesn't matter. You just print more and deal with it afterwards. So in this context, who can build more stuff? BAE Systems in Barrow, we're, paying their top guys 100 grand each to drink coffee and flim-flammer with no sense of urgency. They've all got their health and safety little certificates, and they all go on, everybody's nice, and they have their little breaks. All the Russians who are producing shit en masse in garages and workshops all over the country. Who can produce more stuff? And I've always said this, guys, we are heading towards an industrial, global conflict on an industrial scale, okay? So I'm going to give that one to the Russians as well. And when you talk about logistic supply chains, so we've talked about manpower, we've talked about kit and equipment. I'm going to talk about logistic supply chains now, okay? So Western military, NATO military, they will have literally from their front line, they will have a chain going all the way back. So this guy will ask this guy will ask this guy, and all the way back. And then they will send stuff forwards, and we send it back, and send it forwards. Not really a logistics guy, guys. I'm not. I'm more of a sharp end guy. But with that logistics supply, it can get targeted by drones. And I can guarantee, I know for a fact, with 100% certainty, the British military have no way to counter that. Zero. The British military have no way to counter drones. None. So the supply chain is vulnerable as it is. A British supply chain will not be able to resupply a German team or a German force because they'll have different kit and equipment. The Germans might have, I don't know what rifles they use. They may use 5.56. I don't know. I think the Germans may use 7.62 long. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But what I'm getting at here is all these different armies, they all have different kit and equipment. Like a wheel from a German, what do they use? They use them Gelderwagens. A wheel from a German Gelderwagen will not fit on a Land Rover. So now you see the problem with logistics, interoperability of parts. Okay, right. So now you could have this ridiculous situation where you've got a German platoon, a British platoon. The German platoon's got a vehicle, with 2 wheels that have been blown up, and the British Land Rover's got a vehicle with two wheels that have been blown up. Normally, you just put the wheels onto the other one and blow the other vehicle, and you've still got one vehicle. Now you have to blow both vehicles because those parts aren't interchangeable. How are the conscripts working? Well, from the video that we saw the other day, they're going into country, they're finding their own food, they're finding their own transport, they're stealing vehicles, stealing cars, stealing trucks, making their own shit. Where's the logistics chain to destroy? Where's the logistics chain? You know. So anyway, that's my analysis there, guys. That's my analysis of that's my analysis there of what's happening. It does look like more people are talking about this. That was an article I shared with you guys from How to Fight in Hell. Ukraine veterans say NATO not ready for war. And this was an article by The Independent posted today, 15th of November. If you guys want to go and watch that, read that article, some really good points in there. And when you read that article, you'll be saying like, oh, yeah, Sean was talking about this months ago. Now other people are talking about it. So when I'm talking about what's coming, I just want to touch on Birmingham again, guys, okay? So Birmingham right now, what is happening? So is this new? What? Jesus, every day. Right, hang on a minute. Right, let me check this again, actually, guys. Hang on. Because I searched for, because there's been a stabby, I think, last night. Yeah. So I'll read this off the BBC. So this is an article by Charlotte Benton, strong name, who's from the West Midlands. And this is an article released today, actually. 3 charged after teen stabbed in city centre. A 15-year-old boy and 2 men have been charged after a teenager was stabbed in Birmingham city centre. West Midlands police were called to reports of disorder outside the Bull Ring. Okay, I don't know what that is. Outside the Bull Ring just after 8 o'clock GMT on Thursday. A 17-year-old boy was taken into hospital but has not been left with life-threatening injuries. I'll give you some names, guys, okay? I'll give you some names. I'm going to share this with you. I don't care. I'm sharing this with you. So what do you think the names are? What do you think the names of these people are? You know the stabby stabbers? The people who've been arrested for stabby? Let's have a look, shall we? I don't know. I think he's like going to be a Norwegian fisherman's name. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so their names are Muzagull and Zain Hussein. I wonder if it's any relation to Saddam. So we've got Muzagull, who's 18, and Zain Hussein, who's also 18, and a 15-year-old boy who cannot be named. I think he's going to be the Norwegian fisherman. For legal reasons, have been charged with wounding with intent, affray, and possession of a bladed article. They have been remanded in custody and are expected to appear at Birmingham Magistrates Court on Monday. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is because it does seem like if it's not London, it's Birmingham. Like right now, guys, the major shitholes in the United Kingdom, London, Birmingham, Manchester, they are they're just gone, aren't they? They are just gone. Absolutely gone. I walked through Sheffield the other day. I was going to live stream while I was in Sheffield the other day. I didn't have any data. My data had run out. I was like, oh God, that is a schoolboy. That is an absolute schoolboy. But like that, there's clear pattern recognition here, isn't there, guys? Big city becomes multicultural, turns into a shithole. Okay, I've seen that, right? Okay. Another big city goes multicultural, goes woke, turns into a shithole. Okay, right. Let's see what happens over there. Big city, check. Gone multicultural, check. Gone woke, check. Turned into a shithole, check. Right. What are you doing over there? Oh, we're going to become a big city, and we're going to invite all cultures, and we're going to be a multicultural city. You do realize you're going to turn into a shithole. How dare you? No, I'm just doing pattern recognition. Literally pattern recognition. This has saved humanity more times. Like, can you imagine, like, when we're evolving? I like to think I evolved differently. I like to think my bloodline evolved a little bit differently. Can you imagine, like, we're evolving. The wildebeest, you're out there, you're out hunting the wildebeest. You're out there with the wildebeest, and you're like, right, the last 3 times we went up and we tried to grab the wildebeest's teeth, what are they called? Fangs. Sorry, the fangs. I don't know. I'm making this up. The last 4 times we went and going head on with the wildebeest or whatever, it just bashed us out the way, it chumped on us, it hit us. We were dead. There's no point doing that, okay? So we're going to have to change something. We're going to have to do something different, because I can remember the last 3 times that this happened, we lost people and it was really bad. And then imagine somebody saying, actually, yeah, not all wildebeest. And you're like, whoa, I'm not saying all wildebeest. What I'm saying is, I can understand pattern recognition, and this shit is going bad. And it does look like another city's fallen, guys. It does. So London's gone. I don't think Ant Middleton can even help people out. I think London's too far gone. We've got Birmingham now. Looks like Birmingham's gone. I would say Manchester as well. I would say Manchester's gone. If it's not the stabby, rammy in London, it's stabby, rammy in Birmingham. If it's not stabby, rammy in Birmingham, it's stabby, rammy in Manchester. And just as another, with Birmingham, we all know that Birmingham has gone financially. Birmingham's gone bust. Let me just Google this, because I need to. I think they file at Birmingham. It's a 114. Right, okay. So Birmingham City Council issued a section 114 notice, effectively declaring itself unable to balance its budget sheet in September 23 due to several converging financial pressures. The primary reasons were a large and escalating liability for equal pay claims to a disastrously implemented IT system. So I could go into those guys on themselves, but I'm not. We're just gonna leave it there and say that September 2023, Birmingham declared themselves effectively bankrupt, unable to pay, unable to balance their balance sheet. So now we've got this, these floods happened, and yes, there was a lot of rain over Birmingham. But Birmingham seems to be flooded, and it just seems to have, my question is, right, okay, have Birmingham Council been paying people, diversity quotas? Have Birmingham Council been giving their mates contracts for work that was never carried out, rather than, and I don't know what the answer to that is, guys, rather than, clearing the drains, basic maintenance. Because unless somebody tells you to do that maintenance, it doesn't get done. Unless somebody pays those bills, it doesn't get done. And I know another thing with if the council declares itself bankrupt, they can raise the council tax more than the government limit then. So Band again is saying Piccadilly Garden is a hellhole. James is saying, so when the world goes totally Mad Max, what are we supposed to wear? Do we wear leather like Mad Max? You see, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you guys with my apocalypse attire. Initially, I was going full Mad Max Warlord. So I had a biker's jacket with the arms ripped off. I don't even know if that's practical, but, the arms were off. I had some elbow pads. I had some leather trousers. I had the baseball bat with the barbed wire around it, But now I'm thinking, Now I'm thinking I should be more of like the heir of Numenor. One of the rangers from the north. And now I'm thinking I'm just going to go with a cloak. I'm going to go with a hooded cloak. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with a hooded cloak and a quad bike. I think that's going to be my apocalypse attire. Because under my cloak, I could have like a little utility belt with some like, some little sandwiches, a bottle of pop, maybe a can of Red Bull, So when we're talking about apocalypse attire, my initial apocalypse attire was going to be the traditional Mad Max. But I think I'm going to go for more Lord of the Rings now because I am growing my hair long as well, if you've not noticed. Right, let me jump down, guys, and get the comments on. Donna is saying, "I'm going to be the female version of Negan, the little pig." I don't know what that means. The little pig. I don't know what that means. That must be like a little joke I've missed or something. Right, guys, listen, I am going to start to close this down now. How long have we been on? Yeah, I told you this is going to be a bit longer. I just wanted to go over what I was talking about this morning because I know I missed some points this morning because I had to leave because we had to go to that Magna thing. What a devastating scene, guys. What a devastating scene to see that industry. It was huge. If anybody's ever been to Magna in Sheffield, guys, please go. Like, they've got like this steel furnace, and it was like a mile long. And it's like in like a mile long like warehouse thing. It's huge. There's these big industrial hooks and chains, and you're like, yeah, that's real industry. But we've deindustrialized it. We have deindustrialized it. Sometimes I can speak. I can't. Sometimes I can, guys, okay? We have deindustrialized ourselves in the United Kingdom, and it's an absolute travesty. It's an absolute travesty that we've deindustrialized ourselves. So I wanted to go over what's happening in Ukraine. And the article I shared with you guys there, that's on The Independent. You guys can find that out yourselves. That that article is mirroring things I've been saying for months, maybe even a year. Of course the Russians can be defeated, but we need conscripts. That's the thing, guys. Okay, we need conscripts. We need masses and masses of people because all these drones, all this fancy technology, as we've seen on the front line in Ukraine, it's not working. It's not. Ultimately, these wars are going to be won and fought by private soldiers with bayonets fixed. Also, one of the things I wanted to touch on was Birmingham. It does seem like every time there's a stabby, rammy, it's either Manchester, Birmingham, or London. Birmingham's just flooded. And, I'm thinking, like, where are they spending their money? Where's the money going? Is it going on? I don't know. You guys have been putting in the chat where it's going. I'm not going to speculate. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you for hanging out with me this evening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff if you've not done so already, guys. That really helps me out when you do that. And I will be back tomorrow morning, as always, at 10 to give you guys another video, another update. I think I might focus on Ukraine again because I can see things going really quickly. As soon as that town of Pokrovsk falls, that's going to be a massive... That's going to be a massive X on the map, guys, because that is the last fortress town and there's nothing but open countryside. As you can... Either somebody's having a gunfight out there or there's some fireworks. I hope it's the latter. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm going to close this down. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the morning.